We're now joined by Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com. Zach, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. And so yesterday we had the story about LSU and patches, and you had a pretty neat reaction to that. What was your reaction when you heard about this?
Yeah, I hate it. There's really no other way to describe it other than I absolutely hate it. And I fully admit I probably care more about sports uniforms than the average fan. So my reaction may be on the extreme. And since putting that out there, I've seen reactions all over the sphere, so to speak. But yeah, I absolutely hate this. I think it sucks. I wish it was against the law, and I hate everything that I hate that this is even a discussion.
Zach, how gaudy do you think this will get school to school?
That's a good question. I saw that LSU said that their plan was to be it would be in purple and gold and probably on the shoulder area right here, similar to what we see in basketball. And I guess the plan, at least at LSU, is to make it somewhat blend in with the uniform, which at that point I would then ask, if it doesn't stick out and catch the eye, what am I paying for if I'm Raising Cane's, for example? To why am I paying multiple millions of dollars per year to put my logo on your uniforms? So I think it kind of has to stick out and catch the eye. Similarly, I know you were just talking about the Thunder. When you look at their uniforms, the Thunder are a light blue and orange, and then you have the rainbow-like Loves logo right here on their shoulder, and it stands out and catches the eye. And I'm sure the bean counters at Loves are very happy with that.
Zach, I don't think most people like this. I think it will all depend on the execution and how gaudy or not noticeable it is. But this was inevitable, was it not? I mean, this logo's on the fields, and who knows what other ideas are being cooked up, like naming rights and whatnot. But with house and everything that comes with it, this is just going to be the norm, probably, right? With most everything, it's going to have a price tag attached to it and probably a sponsor.
I mean, I've heard that argument, and I think it's only inevitable if we decide to make it inevitable. I saw it. To me, it strikes similar to when they put that Chiefs-Dolphins playoff game on Peacock, I think the year before this past season. And everyone's, it's the wave of the future and the first time we've ever done this. And then this was inevitable. And it was like, you have an NBC TV station you could have put this game on. You just chose to put it behind a paywall, and now you're celebrating that people fell for your scam. It's all ads on uniforms are only inevitable if we all agree that they're inevitable. If we stand up and soundly reject this, then I don't think it is inevitable. I think the uniform does not belong to the people working for LSU. These people that are making this decision probably did not work for LSU 5 years ago. They probably won't work for LSU 5 years from now. But the fans are fans of LSU. And to be clear, every other school in college football, but I'm picking on LSU here, you're an LSU fan for life. The LSU name, the brand, the colors, the logo, the uniform, that means something because men and women have bled and sweat and cried in that uniform over 125 years. That's why it means something, and it's not your property to sell that. So I think personally, I fully admit I'm further down this pail than the average bear, so I don't expect everyone to follow me. But if I'm on the LSU Board of Trustees and I read that story, I'm making some phone calls to say, who can I fire over this? Because this is not your property. This does not belong to you. You're trying to sell something that doesn't belong to you or me or any of us. It belongs to all of us.
Yeah, this is the tweet that I saw, and the reason I reached out to you, we've had Zach on. He was just on last week. This is about LSU, but it applies to bean counters across all sports. Your team's uniforms do not belong to you. They belong to the players who bled in them or bleed in them and the fans who cry over them. Therefore, they are not yours to sell. What has been, if there has been a blowback, has it been from LSU fans or really just certain fans in college football, if at all?
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner.
I'd say most, this is painting with a broad brush, but for the most part, the LSU fans that have responded to me have been defensive, which is, I mean, God love college football. We're going to defend our schools to the death. But most everyone else has either been, hey, man, you're making too big of a deal of this, or, hey, it's the wave of the future, or, yeah, this sucks. And it's just kind of another chip, another hack at the tree of college football. And the argument of, well, are you going to stop watching over this? No, you're not. Okay, so then it's not that big a deal. And I guess if we're going to use that standard, then it's not that big a deal. But I hate that argument. If you're going to take – if my enjoyment of college football is 100 to 0 and anything above, you can reduce all of my enjoyment down to 1 and it doesn't matter. I fundamentally disagree with that argument. Look at how much this sport has changed from the conference makeup to the playoff races to everything else off the field that I'm not even really considering, but just the destruction of the Pac-12, that's gone. The playoff, we're going from 2 teams to 4 teams to 12 teams to potentially 16 teams where, you know what, if you just go 8-4 and you get 6th place in your conference, that's good enough now to at least have the opportunity to compete for a national championship. And, oh, by the way, you're going to have a Dunkin' Donuts logo on your uniform as well. Just accept it. It's the wave of the future. I refuse to accept this, and I refuse to not complain about it.
Zach, I noticed in the article you had 2 YouTube clips, one of Jerry Seinfeld. So you're rooting for clothes. That's what a jersey is. And the other one was Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park saying your scientists wondered so long if they could, they didn't think if they should. And I think that's very appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly a tipping point here where we could push so much of the public away that college football and sports in general. I mean, the NBA, Major League Baseball, the NHL have already gone there. And I'd be lying to tell you if I knew exactly where the slippery slope turns into an avalanche, but I think you're foolish if you're in charge of these sports to think that does not exist. And make 1 change and it's not that big a deal. Make 2, make 5, make 15, and eventually your sport starts and people feel like they're being sold 24/7. And eventually you're going to see that your sports following was not what it was because you turned your sport into something that it wasn't in the past. And I think this is a problem a lot in many walks of life today. I think the entertainment business is where it is because the people at top of the entertainment business love business more than they love entertainment. I think by and large, the people at the top of the sports business love business more than they love sports. And I think it's a huge problem.
I love the way you said that. Not everybody will agree, but I kind of like the way you turned that because it's becoming that way. It's already there. So Oklahoma State last year tried to put a QR code on their helmets, and the NCAA said that was not allowed. What's the difference?
That's a good question. I think probably the answer is if we want to use Occam's razor to shave this thing down, the answer probably is that money would have gone to the players, and right now this money would go to the school. And to be clear, this has not been allowed by the NCAA. The LSU, the article that was in the Baton Rouge Advocate was if and when the NCAA changes the rules, LSU is positioned to pounce on it by making multiple millions. What is that? Is that 2 million? Is that 9 million? I don't know. But they're prepared, and I've spoken with other people in the industry that certainly LSU is not going to be alone, and they expect that every school, more or less, will be able to do this once the NCAA makes this change. And of course, Nike's paying to have their swoosh on all these uniforms. Adidas is paying to have the 3 stripes, and if Raising Cane's is paying less than Nike, then Nike's probably going to have questions. So there's certain things boxes that have to be checked for this to become a reality. but certainly everyone thinks that this is going to be a reality sooner than later. And they're certainly counting on all of us to kind of shrug our shoulders and be like, well, it's the wave of the future.
Yeah, look, I can wrap my head around a logo on the field. And look, I've seen plenty of jerseys. My worry is, I've been trying to get into soccer lately, but sometimes I turn on a game, and because both teams have their sponsors on their uniforms and they just wear whatever color they feel like at the time, I have no idea what I'm watching. I worry that that's where we're headed in all sports.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I have 2 points there. Number one, I'm not as angry. I'm not a soccer fan, so I don't have the right to be angry. But I think it bears mentioning here because we're so conditioned in America to have random stops in our games for no other reason than to sell advertisements. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but soccer, just you play all the way through. There's no such thing as a TV timeout in soccer. But here in America, we've been so propagandized and so commercialized that we just accept that we stop the game every 3 to 4 minutes for no other reason than to just sell ads. So that's why they have advertisements on their uniform, because otherwise they have no other avenue to make money. And my second point here is that how many things are you trying to sell with your uniform? Your most important client as LSU, as Oklahoma, as Nebraska is yourself. You're using your football uniform, your football program to sell yourself to the public. The most important piece of real estate, the most important piece in LSU's artistic portfolio is its football helmet. More people come into that every year than any other thing that LSU does. So to say we're going to sell LSU football and we're also going to sell Raising Cane's, wrong. You're diluting your most valuable product to make pennies on the dollar of your billion-dollar institution.
Somebody brought this up, and I loved your opinion from yesterday, Zach, when this came down. The bowl patches, for example, I can always remember back when they were in bowl games, Nebraska had the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl or the Orange Bowl, whatever it was. And I always thought that was pretty cool. And it usually tried to match the uniform. But now you could have a team that goes to 4 different bowl games that all of a sudden has to replace the patches. And I want to give Brad Waller credit for that. I'm not sure who makes money on the patches. Is it Tostitos or whoever it might be? But yeah, I always thought one was cool because it was one bowl game. And now I'm not sure they won't add to the uniform. Won't be 4 patches on that. But that was something else that was brought up in the chat room today.
Yeah, I love that. I remember the first time as a kid when I watched the Rose Bowl, and I think it was Washington State kind of snaked the little rose petal through their logo, through their helmet decal. And I thought that was a great little touch, and just would I be a college football fanatic today if Washington State hadn't done that? Yes. But was that another step on my journey to devoting my life to this stupid sport? Yes, it was. It was part of the majesty of this sport. And now, instead of that, we're going to snake through a little Skittles logo to make $2 million. Give me a freaking break, dude.
Zach, I appreciate you. You felt it. You said it. You have an opinion about it, and you backed it up. Thanks for your time, young man. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah, Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com with us on 365 Sports.